type of medicine that trains your body to fight any foreign agents.
Plants are helpful for the ecosystem.
It's an electronic device for storing and processing data.
The nervous system is all the collection of nerves in your body.
Yeast is a eukaryote.
Welcome to Spectacular Science, where it's all about science, with your host, Akshay.
Hey listeners, welcome back to this episode of Spectacular Science. I'm your host, Akshay. I heard it's a clear night out, so I'm gonna go some stargazing. Okay, now, I've been wondering about something, and I want to try to find that. Or not find it. Well, I don't know how I'm supposed to look at this, because what I'm thinking about is a black hole. Black holes are very mysterious, and are one of the most mysterious objects in the universe. All we know about them is how they form, and that they suck up anything that's near it, like stars and planets, and even just space dust. These very dense objects in the middle of galaxies and floating out in space can range from the size of a small atom to the size of the sun. That's a very big size range. But I really want to learn more about these black holes. And listeners, I'm going to take you on a deep dive into the science of black holes. First, let me get all my stargazing equipment ready. It's just this telescope. Okay, time to carry it out the door. Now let's open the door. Wow, there's so many stars up. I just love thinking about our small place in this giant universe. Okay, time to set up my telescope. But before I take a look inside this telescope, let me tell you a little bit about black holes. Black holes are the strangest objects in the universe. A black hole does not have a surface like a planet or star. Instead, it is a region of space where matter has collapsed in on itself. This catastrophic collapse results in a huge amount of mass being concentrated in an incredibly small area. That is called density, and black holes are some of the densest objects in the universe. And the gravitational pull of this region is so great that nothing can escape, not even light. Light is one of the fastest things in the entire universe, and even light can escape. That's how strong the black hole's gravity is. And although black holes cannot be seen, we know they exist in the way they affect nearby dust, stars, and galaxies. Like, if I look through my telescope, which I'm doing right now, I don't see any black holes because they don't reflect or give off any light. And how we identify that they're black holes is by looking at the movement of stars and other things around that black hole. So if we see a bunch of stars moving around a black spot in the sky, that may actually be a black hole. Many of these black holes are surrounded by disks of material. As the disks roll around the black hole like a whirlpool, they become extremely hot and give off X-rays. Now let's talk about the sizes of black holes. Black holes come in many different sizes. Many of them are only a few times more massive than the sun. These stellar mass black holes form when a heavyweight star about 10 times heavier than the sun ends its life in a supernova explosion, and what's left of the star, still several solar masses, collapses into an area only a few miles across. And most galaxies, including the Milky Way, have a supermassive black hole, which is what these black holes are called, at their centers. And these can be millions or billions of times heavier than the sun. Supermassive black holes also power active galaxies and ancient galaxies known as quasars. Quasars may be hundreds of times brighter than even the largest ordinary galaxies. So, after these supermassive black holes, we have these tiny black holes that can be even the size of an atom, and they can weigh as much as a whole mountain on Earth. Black holes definitely come in many shapes and sizes, and they can range from as small as a single atom to as big as the sun. That's a very high range. Objects that fall into black holes are literally stretched to the breaking point. That's basically the things that go inside a black hole turn to spaghetti. I mean, that's kind of a foodie way to think about it. In fact, I'm actually kind of hungry now. I know it's the middle of the night, but I'm craving some ice cream. Anyway, they actually turn into these giant noodle-like structures. At least we think so. We don't know what's actually inside of a black hole. And all we know is through simulations of the physics and the gravity that we know of the black hole. Okay, now moving on to how black holes are actually formed. Black holes are mostly formed due to dying stars. When a star is close to the end of its life, it collapses in on itself as it burns out all the gases inside of it and runs out of fuel. As it collapses in on itself, especially if it's a supermassive star, it can start to turn into a small point that is extremely dense with gases and dust. And it's so dense that it can actually turn into a black hole, which has extreme gravity. And there's so much force on that one point that it just creates a black hole, which has such powerful gravity. Think of it as fabric. Let's think of space and time as a fabric. And this black hole is just a giant bowling ball on this very thin fabric. It'll just break through and cause a hole. And that's basically how black holes are formed. If you want to learn more about how black holes are formed and want to model that, you can actually visit our website, spectacularsci.com, and find the activity that goes along with this episode. It's called Model How a Black Hole Forms. It is really fun, and it only requires a few household materials. Go check it out. It's also in the description below. Anyway, back to black holes. Black holes are really mysterious, and not many people know that much about them. But we do know that they're extremely powerful. Oh, it's getting cold out here. Maybe I should head inside. Let's open the door. Finally, the warmth of the lab. You know, I should create a device or a telescope that's able to point out black holes. It'd be kind of hard because it needs to be able to get X-rays, and that's what many telescopes like the Hubble Space Telescope and the James Webb Telescope do. But I really need to work on something that you can just fit in the palm of your hand. I know, I gotta work on it, but before I go tinker in my lab, what did we learn today? We learned that black holes are extremely dense parts of the universe, and they have very strong gravitational pull, and they're able to pull anything towards it, and it just falls in and never escapes. Even light can't escape. Black holes form when old stars die off, and all of their matter is condensed into this small area. And that small area expands, and it causes a black hole to form because it's so dense, or there are lots of stuff packed into one tiny space. And that causes the intense gravitational pull to move all the things around it. Scientists are able to find black holes by not just looking at them, but by using the stars and the galaxies around it. If they see something that's moving around it, they would assume that there's a black hole because everything orbits around a black hole. Our own Milky Way galaxy has a black hole in the center, and that black hole keeps the galaxy moving. Black holes truly are mysterious and amazing things in our universe. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Spectacular Science. Spectacular Science produced and hosted by me, Akshay J. Raman. Our theme song is by Charan Ramachandran. Special thanks to Varun Ramachandran. Please visit my podcast website, spectacularsci.com, to find interactive activities, blog posts, articles, and all of our episodes. You can also find the link to sign up for the Spectacular Science membership, where you get lots of bonus content to keep you thinking about science. My favorite of those is the fact of the day, when you get a fun science fact every day. Sign up at spectacularsci.com/membership.
please follow or subscribe to this show on any podcasting platform or wherever you're listening right now. It really encourages me when you subscribe, and it means a lot. Thank you so much. I always love hearing from my listeners about science, and I just love interacting with my listeners. So please contact me at spectacularsci.com/contact or email me using the link posted on the page. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and we'll see you on the next episode of Spectacular Science next week. Keep thinking about science.